Childhood Tales. Chapter 2 of the book, Betettle Nuts and Other Stories by Simeon G. Silverio, Jr. He keeps following you, 3-year-old Simeon's father said to him. He was referring to Simeon's pet duckling, which quacked as it followed Simeon around the second floor of their house on Pepin Street, Sampaloc, Manila. It was the year 1952. Simeon's mom was also delighted. At that time, she was nursing her 4th child, her newborn daughter Mila. She was on a maternity leave from the public school where she taught. Simeon's father, who operated a printing press in Quiapo, Manila, was home for lunch. Since his mother could hardly make it down the stairs, they had a picnic in the upper room of the house. They spread newspapers on the floor on which they lay the plates, a bowl of rice and dishes, though they ate with their bare hands. Looking back on the early years, he could hardly remember the moment. But in his faint and infantile memory, Simeon recalled his pet duckling would eat the pieces of rice that had fallen off the plate and drink from a cup with water, which he filled for the duckling. His elder brother brought the duckling home from school one day from a man who sold ducklings as pets. The man was among the vendors who sold wares to schoolchildren outside the schoolyard. Simeon wished to imitate the actions of his cousin, Odeng. Odeng was 10 years old at that time, and his family lived next to Simeon's. Odeng's mother was the elder sister of Simeon's mom. Odeng made a small 4x4 feet enclosure from chicken wire that stood 3 feet high. Inside the enclosure, he dug a 6-inch by 6-inch hole and filled it with water. He placed a small iron roof in one corner of the enclosure. The 5 ducklings inside the enclosure sought shelter from rain or the heat of the sun in this corner. The hole with water would serve as a pool where they could swim. But Simeon was just a toddler. It was beyond his capability to do what his cousin Odeng did. He was just content with raising his pet duckling within the enclosure of the second floor of their house. As soon as he woke up in the morning, he would look for his duckling inside a cardboard shoebox. He would take it out and let it follow him around the whole day. Eventually, he took the duckling out of the house and let it follow him in a wide alleyway that separated their house from his aunt's home. Sometimes he would forget about the duckling when he became engrossed in playing with his cousins his age. One day, however, his duckling went inside an opening under the house. Simeon waited for it to come out, but it did not. He waited and waited until it was dark, but there was no sign of the duckling. When his father came home that evening, he told him about his missing duckling. His dad took a flashlight and pointed it toward the opening. He inserted a long stick inside and tried to stir it. They could hear some squealing, but no quacking. Finally, his dad told him the bad news. Your duckling was eaten by the rats. Simeon cried and cried for a long time. A strong typhoon hit that August of 1952. For 3 days, the rain continuously pounded day and night, flooding Pepin Street in Sampaloc, Manila, where Simeon and his family lived. On the second day of rain, Simeon's mom went into labor. His dad hailed a passing jeepney on Dapitan Street and brought his rain-soaked wife to the nearby family clinic on Laong Lan to deliver their 5th child. He was named Santiago after St. James, the patron saint of his father's hometown of Plaridel, Bulacan. Early on, the child was called Tiagong Baha, Flood Tiago. When the rain stopped on the 4th day, the floodwaters had not yet receded from the street. Every child in the neighborhood came out to play in the flood. Simeon's elder cousin, Odeng, brought out a sleek, beautiful toy boat, which he sailed in the floodwater to the envy of every boy in the neighborhood. Simeon's father made him a simple plywood boat. By extending a rubber band from either end of the back of the boat and placing a piece of wood in between, the wood spun around like a propeller and pushed the toy boat forward through the water. Simeon and his playmates, who were mostly boy cousins, would go to the corner of Laong Lan and Pepin Streets and swim in the floodwater as if it were a community pool. Don't swim there because your stomach might be cut by the broken glass under the water, the elders warned them. But wading in the flood, especially during the rain, was a fun way of spending the time when classes were suspended because of the typhoon. During a break, Simeon picked up a can full of floodwater and poured the contents out. To his surprise, a huge fish fell out and jumped into the flood. For a long time, it had become his habit to pick up a can in a flood, hoping a fish would come out. But nothing ever did. When Simeon was 4 years old, his mother brought home a hen with white feathers. They planned to have it for dinner that weekend. But Simeon asked his parents to let him raise it as a pet. His parents winked at each other and let him have his way. Simeon tied a piece of string on its right leg and led it around the house. He would feed it Pelé and let it drink from a cup of water. He would play with it all day and throw it in the air to let it fly, as the long piece of its string was tied to its leg and the other end to his arm. He kept the string tied to him, even when he was asleep. On the third morning, however, he woke up with no hen in sight. The piece of string was still tied to his arm, but the hen was not tied to other end. He asked everyone in the house, but nobody had seen the hen. Maybe it plucked the string with its beak and got loose, his elder brother Buddy told him. He was smirking. Or maybe the chicken monster took it away. His mother promised to buy him another one. "When I go to the market next week," she assured him. But his feelings would not be assuaged. When he looked out of the window, he saw his hen, white feathers and all, tied to his cousin's house by a string. He ran downstairs, removed the string, grabbed the hen, and proceeded to take it home. "That's my hen," cousin Ray, who was his age, wailed from the window of their house. Ray rushed outside and grabbed back the hen from Simeon. The two cousins pulled at the helpless hen until the elders came out and tried to separate them. "That's Ray's hen," his mother told Simeon. "It may look like your hen, but Ray's mother bought it for him yesterday." But Simeon would not hear of it. He insisted the hen was his until he started crying. His mother brought him inside the house where he cried his heart out. That evening they enjoyed a delicious chicken dinner. Simeon looked forward to the day when his mother would buy him another hen at the market. But after only 3 days, he forgot about his missing hen. Ray's hen, with white feathers and all, was also mysteriously lost. Maybe it was also taken by the chicken monster, Simeon told Ray. That evening, Ray and his family also enjoyed a delicious chicken dinner. And that closes the book on this matter. Subscribe to this channel to listen to more enjoyable stories like this. This is episode 2 of the YouTube channel, Our Life and Times audiobooks. Betel Nuts and Other Stories is published by Papyrus Books with email address papyrusbooks@yahoo.com. To order a copy of the book, go to amazon.com and enter the name of the author, Simeon Silverio, in the browser.